Hey guys, Jordan Schumacher here, and in this video I'm going to talk about something that's really interesting to me, which is the concept of treating your content marketing like an actual freemium product in the SaaS industry, SaaS meaning software as a service. And so treating your content marketing, which most people look at as just kind of this ambiguous branch of marketing, and actually treating it as a freemium, intentionally treating it as a freemium product, a freemium SaaS product. And I'm going to explain why I think this just makes so much more sense. And if more people looked at their content marketing like this, they would see so much more success with it. And so a few weeks ago, I was reading an ebook written by the Profitwell guys. And so Profitwell is also a freemium software company, basically serving subscription businesses. And so quick backstory, the Profitwell business model is basically they have a subscription analytics product, which they could have easily charged for, but they decided to offer that product for free. For those who aren't aware, the software as a service subscription business market, it's a relatively small market in terms of the number of businesses. And so there's, maybe 10,000, maybe 100,000, probably closer to 10,000 businesses who actually have the capability to, have a customer value of more than 10 grand, right, over the lifetime of that customer. And so what Profitwell did, and they were very intentional about this, and this ebook covers it. I'm going to link to the ebook because it's great for anyone who wants to take a look at this stuff. But what they did was essentially they said, okay, we've got this really great piece of software, which is subscription analytics. We could probably justify charging some amount of money for this, but subscription analytics in and of themselves, that's more of a nice to have. It typically doesn't solve a massive pain point for the customer. And so maybe we could get away with charging, $50 a month, $100 a month, maybe for this product. But again, when we look at the number of potential customers in our market, there's only 10,000, right? Which 10,000 times $50 a month, I mean, that's a meaningful business. That's 500 grand a year. That's, $6 million a year business, but it's not massive, right? It's definitely not a huge business by any means. And so what they decided to do then was they said, okay, this is the core value of our product. It's subscription analytics. We're going to offer this for free as a customer acquisition channel. And so we're going to offer this subscription analytics product that we could charge money for. We're going to offer it 100% free, no strings attached. And then what we are going to do is, by adopting the freemium business model, which is free plus premium, we're going to sell ancillary products and services around that. And their ancillary products and services are very expensive, to the tune of, if you want them to help you with your pricing, it's like 50 grand or something ridiculous for them to optimize your pricing page. They have some like accounting software, which I think is several hundred, maybe several $1,000s a month. And then they have basically a churn reducer, failed credit card payment recovery solution, which is a percentage of sales recovered. And so by offering their core product for free and then having very high-end premium services around it, they've been able to scale well past $6 million. I forget the number off the top of my head, but I believe it's $8 million, or excuse me, 8 figures in annual recurring revenue. I believe, don't quote me on that. But they've been able to scale significantly higher in a relatively small market. And so basically what this ebook does a great job of going through is it says, okay, what is an actual freemium model? Why does it fail for so many businesses? And why have a few businesses, them included, been able to make it work so well for them? And ultimately it comes down to the intentionality of how you actually structure your freemium model. So you actually have to structure your freemium model in a way that allows monetization, and then just misunderstandings of what freemium means. And there's a lot of analogies. As I was reading it, I was just like, oh, this might as well be a book about content marketing, because there's so many analogies to the freemium model in the SaaS world as there is in content marketing and sort of the digital marketing world. And so, so many people say things like, oh, just, give away all the value for free, create content, and the customers will come and they'll pay you money. And that's just not really true at all. But even if it were true, it could be you could make your content marketing efforts far more efficient by just being intentional around it. And so this video is especially for you if you're someone who sells your knowledge or your expertise, or is essentially selling information in some sort. It could be packaged up as a course, as a digital product, could be packaged up in consulting, coaching, could even be packaged up as a service to some extent. Even if you're a personal trainer or a golf coach, essentially what you're doing is you're selling information. And yes, you're doing other things, right? But when you really distill it and boil it down, you're selling your knowledge and your expertise, and you're transferring that knowledge to your clients. And for anyone in those industries, you know that there is an inherent sort of paradox in content marketing and what you actually sell. And that paradox is this: because essentially you're selling information and content marketing is essentially giving information away for free, you run into two primary issues. Issue number one, if you follow the advice of the people of many of the gurus who say, oh, just give away everything for free and the money will take care of itself. Well, there's two problems with that. So issue number one is that ultimately it's going to be info overwhelm, right? And so, to be perfectly honest, if you're a personal trainer and you're writing a blog post or shooting a YouTube video on the 15 ways that you can lose 10 pounds in the next 6 months, right? 90 days, whatever that is. The person who clicks on that article is probably looking for a quick hit of inspiration, maybe a little hit of dopamine, a little feel good, some motivation, and probably just more of a distraction from their day to day. And they want to feel productive while they're being distracted. They're probably not actually looking for like the whole thing. And so if you were to, in that blog post, just include step-by-step workout plans with detailed diagrams of each workout, and here's what you should do, and here's how much time you should set for each workout, and here's your meal plan, because that's important. Here's your entire recipe meal plan for the next 90 days. Here's the cookbook recipes for each of those. Here's what you need to buy at the store and when. If you were to include all of that in the blog post, you'd lose like 99.999% of people, right? And so if you were to literally follow the advice of just give everything, all your best stuff away for free, and you were literally to do that, your content would actually not perform well because it's just too much. It's overwhelming. People aren't bought into you either by paying money, which is going to force them to actually consume the content that they paid for, or by just being invested in you, like have a one-way relationship with you by consuming your content over time. Chances are they've never heard of you, and they're just not going to pay attention to what you have to say. So that's the first thing is that you can run into if you just literally follow the advice of giving it all away, is info overwhelm. But the second thing is literally not leaving anything to charge money for. So if you're in the information selling business, again, however you define that, and you can package up your information however you want, if you are essentially selling information and then you're giving stuff away for free, if you give all of your information away for free, you're not giving anyone a reason to actually pay you money because you just gave it all away for free up here. And this is one of the things that I really don't see anyone talking about, which is because for some reason, I guess it feels a little weird to talk about this, but if you actually look and drill down into the business models of most of the gurus or influencers who talk about, oh, just give it all away for free and the money will come on the back end. If you actually drill down into their business models, there's one of two things going on in that camp. The first thing is they're actually not selling information. They're monetizing through some other mechanism, whether it's a software product, physical products, maybe it's just massive keynote speaking fees, and so essentially they're selling advertising essentially as a way to look at that, but they're not actually monetizing through their information. Now, an argument could be made that's a better, more scalable, more long-term business model. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but it does make their advice hypocritical because they're not actually selling their information. Or the second thing is if you actually take a look at their content, which they claim is giving everything away for free, they're not actually giving away the tactics that you would pay for if you were to pay for the information. They're mostly giving away high level, kind of motivational, inspirational dopamine hits, high level, more fluff content that, while it feels super engaging and it feels super productive and you watch it and you feel really good, you're not actually going to be able to take that and then go do anything with it. It's more inspirational. And so I really have a problem with people who say, oh, just give it all away for free and the rest will take care of itself, because most of those people are being hypocritical in that advice. But all that aside, despite all of the misleading advice around content marketing, if you look at your content marketing as a freemium product, all of a sudden it makes a lot more sense on what you should do as a business owner, as a consultant, as a freelancer, on what you should actually do for your content marketing and how you can actually utilize your content marketing to charge for premium products and services. And so first of all, let's take a look at what the freemium, what freemium is, right? So freemium equals free plus premium. And so this is an important distinction. I mean, this is pretty much self-explanatory. I think most people know this, but this is actually an incredibly important distinction, because a lot of times what you will run into when you see quote unquote freemium products is, let's say this is the product, right? This is the product, and this is kind of the core value of the product. What a lot of businesses will try to do who don't really understand this freemium model is they'll say, hey, you can come in here and you can use it for 7 days and then we charge you, right? And they call that a freemium. Or they say you can get access to this amount of the product, but you got to pay for access to the rest of this. And so really what that creates is, off the bat, it creates a transactional relationship. And really, essentially what's happening here is, either one, you're not allowing your customers to realize the full value of your product, or two, you're just delaying your payment by 7 days. Basically, you're asking people who are already probably likely to buy your product to just wait 7 days before they actually hand over money. Like, it's going to be difficult to really create massive fans of your product in 7 days. And so really the purpose of freemium is to create little to no friction in building a user and building a loyal fan of your brand and of your business. This is known as the penny gap theory. They talk about it in the ebook, but basically it is significantly harder to take a random stranger on the internet to open up their credit card and give you a single penny than it is to take someone who's already paid you a penny and get them to spend $100 with you. It is massively more difficult for someone to cross that transaction threshold. And so the idea behind freemium is that it is a customer acquisition channel. It is not necessarily a monetization tool. And so businesses who are using kind of this faux freemium model, which is like, hey, we're going to give you part of it and then hide the rest behind a paywall, or hey, we're going to give you everything but only for 7 days, they're confusing the purpose of freemium. They're trying to turn freemium into a monetization mechanism, and really they're shooting themselves in the foot, because the whole point of freemium is just to acquire as many people as possible, to make them rabid fans by allowing them to consume the core value of your product for free, and then offering them ancillary products and services around that. And so if we take a look and we think of our content marketing, especially if we're in the information selling, expertise selling business, if we look at our content marketing as a freemium product, then that means that our content needs to exist as being valuable in and of itself. And then around that content, which we allow everyone to consume for free, we have premium products and premium services that we can sell. The number one mistake that I see a lot of people, especially again in the information, expertise, knowledge selling industries, is they, instead of using a pure freemium model where it's like, hey, here's this thing that's valuable, it's yours for free, this is the content, and I also have these ancillary, very premium priced offerings and products and services, they treat it like a faux freemium model where not so much the trial, but essentially they offer content, but really it's just kind of a sneaky sales pitch in disguise, and there's really no value in the content itself. And so really what that does is people aren't dumb. People know that, well, like, people understand what's going on. If you're shooting a video that's a sales pitch in disguise, people understand that. They see that. They might still buy in spite of that, but like, they understand what's going on. And so I see a lot of people and marketers who are so focused on the sale, which is fine, that in all of their content, it's just a sales pitch in disguise, which isn't really, I mean, it can work, but they're leaving upside on the table by not treating this like a true freemium model. And so even though up here I was talking about people who talk about giving away everything for free and the money will take care of itself is a bit hypocritical, I think probably the best and certainly the most well-known influencer in the business space who's created his content machine to follow this freemium model in a way that's better than anyone else in history is Gary Vee, right? And so Gary Vee essentially has all of his content, which is for free. So this is his content. He gives away all of that for free, and then he has his ancillary products and services on top of that, which is like, I think his 40S, which is like his 15K consulting day. He's got his e-commerce. He's got, his huge clients, or I guess he's got a smaller business service as well, but he's got like his clients, which are more like 6-figure deals, and then he's got keynotes. All of those are ancillary. All of these are his premium offers through his freemium product, which is Gary Vee content. Now, the thing that Gary Vee understands better than probably anyone else, though, and the thing that you need to understand if you're going to make freemium work, is what you first need to understand is what is the core value that my customers are getting, right? And so for Profitwell, that core value was data and analytics into their subscription business. For Gary Vee, the core value that he is offering for free is really inspiration, motivation, and dopamine, good vibes, right? You watch his content, you feel good about yourself. You feel, relatively motivated. You feel like you're learning something. The reality is, though, that's all you're getting. Essentially what Gary Vee is keeping up with the Kardashians for business-minded people with slightly less drama. Like that's it, and you're fooling yourself if you're looking any more into it. And so what Gary Vee understands is that the core value that his content is offering is the inspiration, the motivation, and the dopamine, and that's all he does. All of his content focuses on providing that core value to the consumers of his content. It would be very difficult to watch Gary Vee free content and then go and create a business based off of that, right? He's not giving you the step-by-step tactics. He's not training you up on how to run Facebook ads. He's not giving you a business plan. He's giving you inspiration, motivation, essentially dopamine, which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but he understands that this is the core value that he gives away for free. To then actually utilize his business mind in the tactics, in the strategies, in the execution, you have to pay for 40S. You have to pay to become a client. You have to go to one of his keynote speeches, which you're paying someone else who's then paying him, right? These are all of the premium services in his freemium model. And then obviously he's built a brand, so he's also leveraging that into e-commerce products, which is a little bit different, but the point still stands here. And so that's one thing that he's done very well, is he understands the core value that his content provides is that inspiration, motivation, essentially just a dopamine hit. That's all his content provides. If all of a sudden he started to walk through step-by-step, here's how to and create content and trainings and offer these for free around how to run a Facebook ad, right? How to do this, that, or the other thing, it would do two things. One, he'd start actually losing people because the core value that people are getting out of watching his content is that motivation. All of a sudden, if they're getting step-by-step sterile tactics and sterile information, they're not going to be getting that dopamine hit that they want, so they're going to leave. He's going to start losing people. But also what that's going to do is it's going to devalue the perceived value of his 40S. It's going to devalue the perceived value of being a client, of being a keynote speaker, because don't get me wrong, he's very talented. He's got a very talented team of people, but there's no witchcraft, there's no wizardry around what he's doing, right? Like running a Facebook ad is running a profitable Facebook ad is a commoditized skill set. And so if you start illustrating that skill set is actually just like, hey, there's actually no secret here. You just got to click these 4 buttons and you can write your ad like this, and then you launch it. All of a sudden the perceived value and the price that people are willing to pay for these premium offers is going to go down. And also the value of his free product, which is his content, is going to go down because now he's moving away from the thing that works for him. And so as a business, whether you're building a tool that's a freemium product or whether you're using content marketing to acquire customers and you're treating your content marketing like a freemium product, there's 2 things that you need to understand and be really intentional about. Number 1 is to understand the core value that people are getting when they become customers, when they buy your products, when they hire you for your expertise, when they hire you for your services. You need to understand what a core value is that you can deliver in the form of content completely free. The intent behind that is so that people will come in, they will consume your content, and as they consume your content, by the end of it, they come out raving fans. And they will then move on to purchase tangential, can't speak words today, other products and services that are complementary to this core value at very premium price points. So step 1, you need to understand what that is. And you need to only then, when you do determine what that core value is, you need to only provide that as part of your free in the freemium. Because if you start to get it mixed up and you start to bring in some of this stuff and you start to move some of this stuff and try and charge for it, people are going to get confused, and ultimately it's just going to dilute the value of everything and you're not going to be able to monetize. Which brings us to step number 2. You have to be intentional about how you're intending to monetize these people. There's a lot of build it and they will come mentality around content marketing, and it's just a mistake. You need to understand from the start how you intend to monetize your audience, and you need to be very intentional around what you are offering for free, which is going to attract, as a customer acquisition mechanism, which is going to attract the same people you are then going to be able to sell your ancillary products and services to then monetize. And so I thought that this ebook was incredibly interesting. It's an incredibly interesting read. I'll link to it in the description of this video down below. I highly recommend you check it out. But I think that content marketing is such an amorphous kind of just very it's such a catch-all term that people become very confused around, okay, well, what actually is effective content marketing? How can I actually measure effective content marketing? And how do I actually make it work for me and my business? And I would argue that the people who struggle to make content marketing work for them in their business are the people who are essentially running the faux freemium products, right? Where they're trying to use their content as really just kind of a sales pitch in disguise to then sell stuff, which also kind of looks like their content, and it just creates a lot of confusion. Whereas the companies that really make their content work for them and that really have content marketing dialed and understood are the companies who truly treat it like a freemium product, where their content delivers one core value to the end customer completely free of charge and unrestricted, which the end customer can continue to use as long as she wants. And then on the back end, offering ancillary products and services at premium price points, utilizing their free part, their content marketing as acquisition only, not trying to make the content actually convert, but just utilizing the content as acquisition and then converting into ancillary products and services on the back end. If you found value in this video, please subscribe to this channel. It would mean the world to me. Hope this got your wheels turning a little bit. Very curious to hear if you agree or disagree with me. Please leave a comment down below. I feel like there could be some pretty vehement disagreements in the comments. Would love to hear them. I try and respond to everyone. Again, please subscribe to this channel and also check out that ebook that I mentioned. It's a really great ebook from Profitwell. They just put out a lot of really great content. Actually, I'd recommend like all of their content. That's all I've got for today. Take care.